Another week in Seattle real estate. Repairs are getting done, inspections are happening, closings are getting closed.
Yeah, last week was busy. I don't know if this week is going to be as busy, but we have a lot to talk about, including sewer line drama and
excitement.
Negotiations, and it's all very interesting. So let's dig into it.
That's the hardest thing about this line of work for me is not knowing how busy you're going to be from week to week. Like, there's certain things that you can predict that are just sort of like baseline work that you need to do on your business no matter what. But then stuff comes up with clients and it's like one week might be crazy, or the next week you might just have, more free time than you expected.
Yeah, last week was super busy, but this week has been like a Memorial Day weekend. We spent some time in the yard. We went on a bike ride.
You hosted an open house.
Yeah, that's true.
Work still happens.
Yeah. So last week we had a closing. Very exciting. Client that we've been working with for months.
Yeah, I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, she got a nice townhouse in Lake City, and it's lovely. It's one of my favorite townhouses that I've ever seen. I posted a short about this. There's like this really expansive backyard. It's an end unit. It's like the most size that I've ever seen in kind of a standard townhouse. So it's pretty great.
Okay, so you had also an inspection on another townhouse in West Seattle, and this was the one where closing is new construction, so closing keeps getting delayed a little bit. And in our last video, we talked about how if closing is delayed, one thing you as the buyer need to be aware of is the expiration on your lending. So often lending can be extended to a point, but then there comes a point where you may have to pay a fee to lock in your rate for even longer, and then there comes a point where even after that, you can't keep that rate anymore, and you have to kind of redo all the paperwork.
Well, we extended closing one last time up to the hard deadline.
Yeah.
So we've got to be on the builders to finish up any projects. There's only a couple things. The biggest things were like the front door doesn't fit right. I think that they're gonna have to order a new front door.
It's always like the most basic things.
Like it's just a silly little thing.
Like these builders are building so many so many units, and then like the front door is not the right size. That's just funny to me, but that happens all the time.
Yeah, and the mini split is leaking too, which I see a lot of mini split problems with these new construction places. They freeze over, they leak. It takes some fine tuning to get them working right, but definitely worth it.
Oh, I was just gonna take a coffee break.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wanted to show. We stopped at the Macrina and Maple Leaf, and they have the most aesthetic coffee cups. Alex is gonna.
It's probably not in focus.
We're sitting at Maple Leaf Park, which is one of the best parks in Seattle.
Yeah, really good view. We wanted to go to Macrina, got a coffee, but it's always very busy there, so we needed a little bit quieter space. There's still buses going behind us.
The playground at Maple Leaf Park has a zip line. Pro tip.
Oh yeah, and check out the Maple Leaf neighborhood tour if you haven't seen it yet. Anyways, last week I also went down to do a listing presentation in Renton.
Oh yeah.
Which I always like doing listing presentations, like this kind of high pressure, high stake
fun
opportunity for me, and I always like meet somebody new. This was a referral from a contractor that I know, his in-laws. So, an older couple who've lived in their house for decades, and they have a lot of equity. So it was fun to see what their house was like and talk about all the stats. And I always put together these really nice binders. I've tried to step up my game a little bbit. And Emily has a new listing in Renton too.
Oh, yeah.
She's been advising these people on how to fix it up. And, it's like a 20-year-old townhouse. And they did a really nice renovation and fixed it up, and now it's for sale.
Lots of Renton action. So Renton is it's not Seattle. It's a city just south of Seattle. I don't know why is there so much action in Renton?
Seeing a lot of movement in the suburbs these days. During COVID, a lot of people moved out to the suburbs, and the metropolitan area kind of expanded. And now it feels like it's contracting a little bit. People want to be closer to the city. We have the Burien listing still in the market.
Another southern suburb.
We're negotiating with somebody, so hopefully it sells pretty soon here. But I did an open house last weekend, which I don't do very many open houses.
Good thing you did.
Yeah, I guess good thing. Nice opportunity for a couple of people to stop by and check it out. It's a small house. It's not for everybody, but whoever ends up there, I think it's going to be a
500 square
pretty
feet.
Cool spot.
But your own huge yard with shed. So if you like being outdoors,
yeah,
it's like an awesome
you
apartment or condo
a whole
alternative.
Homestead there. They're pretty cool. I'm kind of jealous.
I know you're really into homesteading right now. You've got a few other like conversations in the works with different buyer and seller clients, but nothing super exciting to report yet. Our personal lives are extremely exciting right now. We just had our pipes redone. Woohoo!
Oh my gosh, yes, so exciting.
I think we talked about that in the last video, but it has happened. This is nuts to me. The company came in at 9 a.m. and they were done by 2 p.m. putting all new pipes, the internal, in our home. They didn't do the portion from the house to the street.
They cut like big holes in the wall so they have
holes.
easy access. But so they have to come back and patch those still. But
am I $16,000 happier than I was before the new pipes? No, but it's that's just homeowner life. It's just something you have to do. Oh, that reminds me. There's another client. Pending buyers that are going to close hopefully the 1st of July in that neighborhood, right near Music Center of the Northwest. And that was a fairly we talked about that transaction in our last video. They have a really long closing period. Is it 6 weeks or more?
I think it's a little bit longer.
Even longer.
Almost 2 months.
That's because the house that they're buying is currently, the owners are running it as an Airbnb. So they wanted to kind of honor their last few Airbnb guests.
And they're actually selling that as a 1031. I don't know if I told you that.
What's a 1031, Alex?
1031. It's a very cool tax method to transfer equity from one property to another.
Investment property,
yeah. It has to be like a rental or something like that. But it's just a way to defer capital gains. Usually on investment properties, you pay a hefty capital gains, which can be up to like 20-25% of whatever profit you have. But with the 1031, you just kind of move that equity from one property to another. A lot of people do it for like upgrading properties. So like you can take a single family rental, sell it, and use that equity as a down payment into like a duplex or an apartment building.
Small multifamily, yeah.
And then you don't owe taxes until, a lot of people just do that until they die.
But there's all sorts of timelines. So if you're selling your investment property and you're wanting to do a 1031 exchange, the clock starts ticking.
Yeah, there's a ticking timeline. This is another reason that the closing period is a little bit longer, because the sellers want the time to identify their new property that they're going to purchase. And you have 45 days from the old property closing to, you just have to identify the next one. But the IRS is very strict with these timelines, so you have to follow them, and that gives the sellers a little wiggle room, some time to find a new property.
Yeah, but we're really excited for these guys. They're moving into Greenwood, one of our favorite neighborhoods.
I met them there last week to do measurements, and oh my gosh, okay, this was really cool. They introduced me to this new app where you just like do a photo scan of the whole house and it creates a 3D model.
Oh, because one of the
floor plan. She's an interior designer, so they're
that's crazy.
Planning the whole house out, and it was very cool. Polycam, if you're interested.
Polycam.
Polycam. I thought it was awesome.
Cool.
It worked super well.
I wonder if they'll let us come see their house a little bit. I'm always like, interior design is one of those careers that's just like, oh, what's one of your dream? Like, it sounds so glamorous and fun. But I want to see what an interior designer does with their house.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Another pending transaction. I think we talked last week about this sewer scope gone wrong, where the sewer scope was just blocked with roots. So we ended up negotiating basically a whole new sewer pipe that the seller's paying for our clients, the buyers. So actually today, the sewer company is stopping by at the house, and they're digging up, creating an access point, and basically just running a new sewer line inside of the old line, and that'll prevent any future roots from getting into it.
That's just a nice peace of mind thing for our buyers. That's another one that's sort of mind-boggling to me, that this work can be done, and they're doing it over 3 partial days.
It's a big project, and it costs over $20,000, and they do it very fast. So
we talk about different closing periods, and in this market, when we write offers for buyers, we try to write quick closings because people generally like that. There are situations like that last house, Airbnb house we talked about, where the sellers might prefer a longer closing, but most people prefer short closings. But we tell people there's all sorts of reasons why a closing might be delayed. And on this one, the sewer situation might delay our closing a little bit. It might not, but it might. But then just other things come up. Like, for example, this is an estate. Is that true?
It's not an estate, but the mom, the elderly mom, is still alive. She's in the nursing facility, but the dad died a number of years ago, and the children have lost the death certificate, and they have to order a new one.
Yeah, because the house is in both of their names, so you need a death certificate. So just things like that come up, like, oh, we can't find the death certificate. There's 7 days to, order it.
Yeah, and we have to delay closing until we have that.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is this interesting?
I don't know.
I hope it's interesting to hear like the different kinds of little things that could pop up in a real estate transaction.
Mm-hmm. So. And home maintenance concerns too. This is a little scattered. Might have a hard time editing, or maybe you have a hard time following this. I ran up to the Woodby Island Airbnb. We had this caterpillar infestation. It absolutely took over a beautiful tree in the front yard. So we had our house cleaner spray it, and I wanted to drive up and just check that they were taken care of, that they weren't infesting the whole house. Also, our lock lost the internet connection. I was like, okay, there's compounding problems. I better drive up.
I'm really glad we chose an Airbnb property within driving distance. It's about an hour and 15 minutes to get to our property, and we try as much as we can not to go there. We have help up there, and we've budgeted to just call them when we need something and pay for it. But sometimes it's just nice I slept better knowing that you had just driven up, checked out the caterpillar situation.
Which was all good. They were all dead.
Good.
There's still some webbing, but I think that'll blow away. And then the internet problem was I just unplugged the router and plugged it back in. So it was 3 hours of driving and half a day to do a simple little thing. But we did sleep better knowing that everything's A-okay there. I think that's it. So if you're thinking about making a home in Seattle, send me a message. Let's work together. Bye.